Hello, everyone. I am Ray Lockdust, and this is Halloween. Callaghan. I should have asked how to pronounce it before I began. This is Halloween episode for serious and sober, serious and scary. And don't worry, the answer to whatever noise I just made is coming. But before we begin, I'm going to talk. What? I know. So to prep for today's episode, I had some intentions. I had goals and I had things that I wanted to prepare and talk about. Great things. And like any good college student, I started preparing 5 hours ago instead of my usual allotted time. And don't worry, I very utilized the first few pages of Google for this. So today, I want to talk about the history of Halloween. And don't worry, that's not the actual episode's theme. We're going to get serious. I'm taking my glasses off because the glare is driving me crazy. I couldn't imagine. And don't worry, I'm going to give you a close-up. It's Halloween. So, Halloween is, you know what? I have notes. And I thought I was doing well, and then I just realized, I'm like, I have no idea about anything. What even is a holiday? So, something I did find interesting in my research was that depending on the source that I was reading, the traditions were written in either a present tense to indicate that the traditions are still being practiced, or in the tense as if it is a lost culture. So an example would be, it is believed that in Celtic tradition, during Samhain, they would tell stories by a fire, and or it would be like it is a tradition to gather around a bonfire and exchange stories of the year. Because yeah, anyway, if my humanity is showing a bit more than usual, I do apologize. Mental health has been doing the thing, and I'm just going to be real about that because, like, well, anyway, if I do make any errors, please be patient, especially when it comes to talking about Samhain, because as I said, this is something that I was researching just today, and I am working on limited time, limited sleep, limited energy, and limited knowledge, and I am just doing my best. Anyway, today we are here to celebrate Halloween. That's it. Now, where to begin? What is this? What are we doing? As you might be aware, I don't know, this Saturday is Halloween. More on that later. And what might be new information to you is that today's guest goes by the name of Callaghan. And having been born on the night of Halloween, it is their birthright to celebrate. But looking into it, is that a little disrespectful? Well, like, the Catholics already absorbed Samhain into Halloween, so if anything, it's moving towards decolonization, right? Thank you, Void. I appreciate you. Samhain is commonly mispronounced as Samhain because that is how it's spelled, and language does that. It's a very important pagan date. It's essentially, it is a new year. It is in between the fall and summer equinox, and it is it's been celebrated in Britain for centuries, and its origin is in many pagan Celtic traditions. What? It is a Gaelic word meaning end of summer. Wow, it sure is timed at the right. Anyway, it is the time of year when the veils between this world and the other world are believed to be at their thinnest. So it's when the spirits of the dead can mostly mingle with the living once again. It's why we have the... I might actually go into it later. Never mind. So I'm just going to do a sidebar and say that costumes were started to there are two kind of theories that I kept finding between. One was to blend in with the dead, and the other was to scare them away by being like, I'm scarier than you. And honestly, I found several different sources that said both. So correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to hear feedback in the comments because I love feedback. um, Yeah, so when the festival was adopted by Christians, they celebrated it as All Hallows Eve or All Saints Day, which was originally in April. But then they were just like, this looks like a good place to put it. It still retained elements of remembering and honoring the dead, which is a great thing to do at the end of the year, which is like it's you're expressing gratitude and you're honoring the changes, and it's much like with the death card for tarot, it's death isn't like only literal, where like obviously like there is a huge part of the culture that is to literal death and connecting to our lost ones, but then it's also just like a loss of a past self and changes that you've gone throughout the year, which is why it's connected to a New Year's celebration often. Another Celtic New Year celebration is I did not look up the pronunciation of this one, so I apologize, but it's spelled like Imbolc, and it's in February. So that one is festival marking the beginning of spring. So in my assumption, one is like a new, for some people, maybe the idea of the new year resonates with the end of the past year. So you would cling to Samhain. Or if the idea of like celebrating the new year is the new beginning, then it makes sense that you would do the spring one of Imbolc. My white little mouth. Anyway, the Oxford Dictionary of World Religions claims that Halloween absorbed and adopted the Celtic New Year festival. There are supporters of the view that Halloween, as the eve of All Saints Day, originated entirely independent of Samhain, and some question the existence of a different specific pan-Celtic religious festival which took place October 31st, which to me kind of sounds like they're saying, hey, we didn't steal it from you. Anyway, that is the history of, that is not the history of Halloween. Honestly, I could have done like 8 episodes on that. There was so much information. I got overwhelmed. I had to do an anxiety, and that is why I'm a little flustered today. But that's okay because you're here with me. And you know who else is here? Jess L. Callaghan. What? Is that a spoiler? No, I told you that already. Weren't you listening? I'm gonna bring them in because I have to. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm okay. I don't really have a lot to complain about. So yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. So happy early birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Before we get into anything serious, I think that we have to talk about our costumes, because costumes are, for me, the biggest part of Halloween. Mm-hmm. And let's go. I'm gonna let you go first as the guest of guests.
Great. Well, today, everybody, I'm going to make it so. I am slutty Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay, so show us some of your details.
All right, so I'm not a makeup artist or even makeup savvy, but I think the only thing good that I did with this is that I've got the Jean-Luc Picard eyebrows pretty well done. So
they're good eyebrows.
Really the highlight. And then I've just added in, like, you know, his signature, like the 11 wrinkles, and then I filled in my own wrinkles because he has wrinkles, I don't, so I had to like fill it in. And he's got that like that dimple right here that I tried to. And then I've got my little emblem. So I do have it on the right side for you Star Trek fans at home. It's just for some reason my laptop flipped. Anyway, this should look like it's here because anyway, that's not important. Then I've got this red, like this dark red sort of shimmery. And then I've got a tank top underneath because nipples aren't allowed on Facebook.
Nipples aren't allowed on Facebook, but they are allowed in my heart. So.
Oh, I to your heart, I gift my nipples.
Thank you. Bow, 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 bow. I'm gonna talk about myself now, so I'm gonna throw you back out, so I'll be bigger. Because I realized, as you may have noticed halfway through, I realized that was a good idea to do for you, and that's why I left. So because I'm thinking about myself ahead of time. Okay, so I need to get a better layout. Anyway, I am a Terminator. What? I also did my arm, but I didn't finish, so I put on a jacket. But it was on the way to looking kind of okay. I don't have a red contact, so I just gave myself red eyeshadow, but I'm actually like, I don't hate this. I couldn't find, I'm not going to go into a tangent about like, just like this. Basically, it was one of those everything that could go wrong is going to go wrong things, but I am actually so happy with, I'm going to take pictures. Don't worry. I'm going to take pictures. No one's asking for pictures, but I'm going to supply them anyway. Anyway, I'm a Terminator and I love it. And I put on this choker because I'm badass. And I'm going to keep the jacket off because the jacket was just for the initial look and I am hot. I am also going to say that this might be a sexy costume because of my tank top. Is that, is this one of those just sexy by default moments? Oops, what have I done? I sat on my keyboard. Oops. I'm so glad that I didn't close this. That would have been embarrassing. Anyway, thank you again so much for coming on the show, especially as the honored guest of birthdays.
Thank you. And to answer your pronunciation question, I always say Callaghan, so like the GH is silent.
Oh, Halloween. That makes sense. Instead of like Halloween, I'm just adding unnecessary syllables into it.
Or
Callaghan.
Callaghan.
All right. So, are you ready to find out what you're doing tonight?
I'm so ready. I'm jazzed.
Okay. So, to begin, everyone, we are going to surprise. We're both, if you couldn't tell by the fact that we're bald, we're both non-binary performers. Just kidding. Non-binary doesn't have a look. We're just stereotypes.
Oh, yep.
Anyway, we're going to be bobbing for apples, but I'm not going to use my face.
Okay.
So what I have here are numbered apple slices. I'm going to move up closer because you need to see them.
Great.
So I have numbered apple slices 1 to 13.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm hoping the color doesn't completely wash off in the water. But I scraped, so I'll be able to figure it out worst case scenario. But basically, we're going to be bobbing for apples because I'm just going to, I didn't want to use 13 apples because that's crazy. Anyway. So we're going to be bobbing for apples. I'm going to be grabbing them at random because I have numbered questions. How many questions do I have? I have 13. How many pieces of apples do I have? 13. I planned this. So I'm going to go dump these in my bucket of water and we're going to begin. And while we're doing that, I'm going to give you some speed round questions. Can I get your name, your pronouns, and something you didn't expect to talk about today?
My name is Jess. Pronouns are they, them. And then the third one was something I didn't expect to talk about today.
Yeah.
There's so much that could come up that I
just the first thing. Just come on, just first thing that comes into your head.
Nutrition. That's
good. Yeah. I have no questions about nutrition for you.
Okay.
So don't worry, that's good. All right. So before we begin, this is a non-numbered question. What? I'm cheating. I just really needed to have 13. It was important. Anyway, Jess L. Callaghan.
Yes.
What does non-binary mean to you?
To me, it is not existing exclusively as male or female. It's it's not within the traditional Western colonial white supremacist binary of male and female. It is not that. It's a decolonized idea of gender, or it falls into a decolonized idea of gender. Yeah, it's just, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman. And I kind of leave it at that, because like for myself, because some people are like, oh, a lot of people assume that it means I'm neither, like, or that's not the right way to say it. A lot of people assume that it means I'm agender, and that does fall under the non-binary umbrella, but like, I'm not agender. Like, I do think that, so like I say, it's non-binary, it's just that I'm not male or female. That's really just it when with regards to like me. But yeah, to a lot of people, like, oh, that means that like you're both, or it's weird. It's hard to explain it to cis people.
Yeah. That's why we have so much like the scales and the spectrums. And honestly, I've never found one that I resonate with, but I resonate with the sentiment of it, you know?
Yeah.
Where I just like, I can appreciate where this is going for, and that is a way to articulate it, I guess.
Yeah. I've also had people who think it means I'm asexual. Like, that happened at a former workplace where one of the managers, like a little bit older, he was trying, God bless him, but he thought that non-binary also meant I was asexual, and like, I'm very much not ace. Like, love ace people, they belong in the LGBT community, but I'm that's not what non-binary means. I've also had people I also had people think it means intersex. I really wish people would just Google more, because it's available.
Yeah, but that requires being an independent thinker, and sometimes people don't have access to that kind of oomph. So, yeah. Are you ready to bob for apples, or at least like watch me stick my hand in a pot, I guess?
I'm so ready to watch you stick your hand in a pot.
All right. You just tell me when, I guess, because then that's a good way for you to participate. So, go.
When?
Okay. Number 7. Okay, this wasn't as well thought out. I had a paper towel to put them down on, but I didn't have a paper towel to dry my hands. I was almost prepared.
So close.
And so far. All right. Does being non-binary inherently make you trans?
I feel like that's a very individual question, because I know non-binary people who very much identify with the trans umbrella, and I'm one of them. For a long time, I felt like I didn't have a right to, but trans just means you don't identify with the gender you were assigned at birth, and that is what I resonate with. I also know other non-binary people who don't classify themselves as trans, and I think I don't know if it's inherent, because like, it's a very individual question, I think.
Oh yeah. That's why these questions are for your perspective, because not only is every human being different, but every non-binary experience is different. And I might go as far as to say, viewers of the show, I might have more non-binary guests, and they might have different answers. Yeah, and I love that. That is honestly what I love about this format, is because I get to ask the questions for you and how you see them. These I want to for this, I'm trying to create what's not as Googleable.
Okay, I understand. Something with more nuanced views.
Yeah, or just your own personal perspective on what these answers are.
Okay, I know that. So for myself, it is inherently trans, yeah, and that was a journey coming to that conclusion for a long time. And it was one of my friends, Jay. She was actually, I was talking to her about that. This was I don't know, like 3-4 years ago, and I was talking to her about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm really trans enough to claim it. And she's like, no, you're trans enough. Like, I'm a non-binary woman, and I like it, and it's just, and she said that, I can't remember how she articulated it, but she basically said something very validating, and that's when I started to feel better about being like, yes, my kind of non-binary, like I'm the trans kind of non-binary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Because and I think like a big part of the difference is like I think there are two things with it. I think some is just stigma of just like I don't want to be trans, because like that was when I first came out as non-binary. I was just like, oh no, it just feels like I saw how hard it is for my trans friends, and I'm just like, I don't have the emotional capacity for this. Turns out I did. I'm strong AF. But anyway. I think the other one, aside from stigma, is, oh gosh, what was my other point? This is why I need to write everything down. ADHD is not fun. Anyway, at least I know why I'm like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. Oh God. This is bad. I'm medicated today too. It's like one thing when I forget and I'm not medicated, and then I'm just like, oh okay, that's just me no au naturel, and I'm just like, this is me with assistance.
We all have our days.
Yeah. Ugh. Can I have just like 28 years? I'm having them. Anyway, can you just like repeat what I was saying for me?
So we were talking about you were just talking about how you saw how it was difficult for your other trans friends. So that was one of the reasons why you were reluctant to come out as non-binary, because you know how hard it can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the reluctancy in attaching the trans is so much is stigma, because you don't want to be attached to it. And I think the other half is what you went through, and I did go through it as well, of just like, am I trans enough? Am I different enough to accept this label? Because it's a heavy thing.
I was also just worried. I was worried, am I appropriating transness? That was my thing.
Yeah.
And I was very worried about that, because that's not something I wanted to do. And I've seen I know that there are trans folk who say that about non-binary individuals.
Yeah.
And mind you, I know way more cis people who say that shit, and like cis people stay in your lane. But it's, yeah, and I was worried, like, oh, I don't want to be like a gender non-conforming cis person appropriating or invading transness. But the reality is, I'm not the gender I was assigned at birth, and I do experience dysphoria. Not that dysphoria is a mandatory thing to experience to be trans. Like, gender euphoria is an important aspect as well. But like, I think I'm just mad at a lot of cis people who are like, you can't say, like, non-binariness invalidates transness. And I'm like, that's a white supremacist view, because there have been other genders for thousands of years. Yeah. And it's that white supremacist Christian colonial view of gender. Like, that's because, like, if you look at so many other cultures, they have more than two genders. And yeah, so
yeah, it's such a bigger issue than so many people are like, because it's being treated as this new age, this modern thing, and it's just like, no, it's been around for thousands of years. It's actually like, it not being here is more modern. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, for all of those people who want to go back to the good old days, we're trying.
Yeah, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't worry, we're on it. Oh gosh, nothing. I was just thinking, there's this joke I've been kind of working on. It's imperfect, but I'm going to say it. So it's, so the boomers hate the snowflakes so much that they focused on global warming just to get rid of us.
Ha ha ha. Oh no.
It's almost there.
You're so close.
Yeah, it's anyway, next question. Tell me when.
When?
Okay. It was at a point where I'm like, please, it's cold.
Ah.
It was warm. I just got ready early.
Oh, okay.
God, I'm just crazy. Are non-binary people the mental equivalent of intersex?
I'm not sure. And I'm not sure I feel qualified to answer this as somebody who's not intersex, or as far as I'm aware, I'm not intersex. I think that there's a lot about biology that we don't know. Not even I think. There is a lot about biology and biological sex that we don't know. And I feel like, because there are people like, okay, like assigned female parts, female identity, that's a match. Assigned male parts, male identity, that's a match. Intersex, non-binary identity, that's a match. Like it seems like a very black and white simplification. But the thing is, like, there are intersex men and there are intersex women, and there are intersex non-binary people, but like I feel like people just get too obsessed with biological sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I know what my answers to this question. I'm just rambling.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's a hard question. I knew it was hard. I didn't expect you to be like, no. Like, my short answer is no, but my long answer is, well, depends on the person. Because it's just like, and it also, like, as you said, like, there's so much that we just don't understand. There's like there are like sometimes people say there is a male brain and a female brain. Some people say that's false. It's like where it's just like there are different hormone levels, there are different brain shapes, there's this, there are all these different things that are affecting everything that we do. And how can there be a binary in it? It just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but the binary doesn't exist.
That, and I know that from my understanding of intersex conditions is it varies so much. Like there are people who they go their whole lives thinking that they're an assigned female person who identifies as being a woman, and then they find out that they're intersex like in their 30s or whatever. And it's like, because like like what made them intersex had to do with a chromosomal thing, because their reproductive organ to be intersex, that it feels like a really big it feels like there's an iceberg, and the question itself doesn't consider a huge chunk of the iceberg.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that was purposely a difficult question, so don't even sweat it. Yeah, it's just like it's the kind of thing where I understand where you got there, but I'm gonna say it's a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we ready for a new question?
We sure are.
All right. Say when.
When.
Okay. Ooh, question 3. Okay. Ooh, can you share with us the moment that, or a moment that helped you realize that you were non-binary?
This is kind of funny. It happened at a LARP. And I was playing the game.
Bless you.
Thank you. So, wow. This is probably because I have a candle lit here, and I rarely light candles because I'm not allergic. I just sneeze. So to answer your question, I was at a LARP, and it was in the evening of a game, and like we're all in character and stuff. Yeah. For those of you at home, LARP is live action role play. It's where you dress up and you pretend, and sometimes you hit each other with foam weapons. Anyway, we were hanging out in one of like the communal tents, and this one person who was playing a blind character, a sighted person playing a blind character, which isn't okay upon like years later, That's problematic. Anyway, he was playing a blind character. And so his character didn't assume my gender based on my voice. Like, I have a very high sitting voice, so I get that I'm often presumed as female identifying. But so his character, as a blind person, used the pronoun they for me because his character wasn't sure of my gender because he's blind. But yeah, like, and it was the moment of like, oh, that feels nice. And what I like to, I have this shoe analogy that I like to use. So she, her, it was like shoes that were slightly too big for me, where it was like, that's better than shoes that are too small, but like, close enough, that's fine. And then I assume that, oh, this is just that's just how it is. And then they, them was like trying on a pair of shoes that fit perfectly for the first time ever. I'm like, oh, is this what shoes are supposed to feel like? Is this what something fitting you properly is? Yeah. And now I'm at a point where like she, her is shoes that are too tight. Like, I don't want she, her at all. And I'm even fine with he, him. Like, he, him is now the slightly bigger shoe where it's not quite it, but it's yeah. Like, I if people are going to use a gendered pronoun for me, I'd rather them use he, him, because she, her just does not feel right at all. I find a lot of the times I kind of feel center mask a lot. So he, him is more comfortable than she, her, but they, them ultimately is the right shoe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I first figured out I was non-binary at a LARP. Yeah. But that being said, in 2013, yeah, like winter 2013, I started playing around with my gender expression. And in 2014, I started calling myself bi-gender without having too much knowledge about the non-binary umbrella. And then I started learning about gender fluidity, but I didn't attach that to transness at the time. Yeah. I didn't have that moment of like, and I knew people who were non-binary and who used they, them pronouns. I was dating a non-binary individual who was using they, them pronouns. And, but yeah, having somebody use it on me, that was a moment of like, oh, if that feels good, I should probably explore this more.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I my exploration started with cosplay. And it was just because like I would just I found I just started feeling really good when people would question my gender. And I was just like, what's this? Because like even when I was a kid, I used to I was aware of the idea of trans people, only I didn't know the language. I would be like a boy in a girl's body. So I would describe myself as, I feel like a boy in a girl's body that's not a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to share this comment quickly because it made me laugh. So my roommate has burst out laughing hearing about LARP because of his own experiences with LARP. And then I'm wearing noise canceling headphones, so I had no idea of this, but apparently his own cackle echoed through the stream. So I just, for everyone who apparently heard a real live witch's cackle, it was Wes. Anyway, I feel like we have destroyed that question, and I think we're on for another. Murder. Do you agree?
Yeah. Murder.
All right.
Myself.
All right. Say when. My hand is cold already because I didn't give you a warning.
Okay. When?
Okay. This is 2. What does genderqueer mean?
That was one of the first identities I vibed with. And I would still call myself that occasionally, but I feel like genderqueer is not meeting gender expectations, just in general, or to me, that is what it feels like.
Okay.
It's just not meeting, like actively not meeting gender expectations.
Rad. Yep. Short, sweet, to the point, and hands going back in the bucket.
When?
Ooh, 13. I love how the 13 apple turned out. It looks so cool. I'm dripping everywhere. I did not think that out. Anyway.
Nice. Are you gonna
Why is it so? Oh yeah, I've been snacking on them, honestly.
Oh, wow.
I mute my mic and then I bite apple. Whenever you have a long answer, I've been eating the apples.
Nice.
So, number 13. Yeah, it's like I would waste food. Have you met me before? Rude. Anyway, I work in the food industry. Of course I waste food. I'm a professional food waster. Oh. But whatever. I try not to think about it. Number 13, do you feel you have to mask all representation of gender in order to be a valid non-binary person?
I often feel like I have to lean hard against my assigned gender a lot. I do feel that. But I don't necessarily like that I feel that. 'Cause like, if I want to express myself in a more traditional feminine way, that shouldn't negate that I am non-binary. So I find a lot of the time I will kind of like go for a more like masculine androgynous kind of appearance. This is a complicated question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times when I want to present more femme and then I don't, because I don't want people to think that I'm not non-binary. But non-binary, I know that it doesn't have a look. I know it doesn't have a look, or it's not or it doesn't have an aesthetic. And that's the whole point of one of the points of non-binary is like you can't tell by looking.
Yeah.
But I often feel like I'm not going to be taken seriously as non-binary unless I find a way to physically present myself differently. That being said, like I have a lot of traditional feminine features just as that's one of the reasons why I shaved my head was because I was like, okay, you wanted something more masculine here, like here's something more coded masculine. Maybe now people will take me and my non-binary seriously, but nah, I still get misgendered all the time. So it's
I haven't really been outside since I started shaving my head, so I can't attest to this. But I know honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he's typing out the story right now. But I know for a fact when Wes shaved his head, he was misgendered all the time, and so it's just like because it changes your features, it shows things off. So it's just like that's I think that's interesting, and I'm just like because like I can see because like I have found when I've gone out and I've been more just masculine presenting, people will aggressively gender me. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is just like I'm not good at handling it because like I just never know what to do because it always like yeah.
And I know that with myself when I've
I just have to show off. I'm right about everything.
That's okay. I know that when I was just playing around with my gender expression, and I had short hair at the time, and I called, like I would tell people like, oh, it's my boy hair all the time. If I did genuinely actively try to present male, and I'm a very small-chested individual, so it's very easy for me to hide the fact that I have breasts. So this was in my early 20s. trying to present male, I could get to a point of reading male, but like literally my boy mode was literally boy mode. Like I look like a 12-year-old or 13-year-old boy. Yeah, and did I have a point? I can't remember if I had a point. But I know that now is it I haven't tried hard presenting mask with the shaved head, so I'm not quite sure what the result would be. I'm assuming that I'm just gonna get misgendered just because of my feminine facial features and the fact that I have a very high sitting voice. I feel like though if I went into a high school presenting mask, I feel like somebody would think I'm a student.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they would think I'm a boy or not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. Gender's fake. Our society's presentation of gender norms is fake. You can have a penis if it means that you feel whatever. Anyway,
this is slightly unrelated. This is completely unrelated. There was a package that I ordered, and I live in an apartment building, and I just got a notification that they're 5 minutes away. So we might have to have a quick little intermission for me to run down and grab the package and come back.
That's funny. I have the same problem. I'm expecting a delivery before 9 p.m. today.
Oh dear.
And I'm just like hoping for the best because sometimes places will just like wander upstairs and bring me my things.
I know with us,
and sometimes they don't.
I know with us, I haven't. I thought I set up the buzzer, but I did not. I have to figure that out still. But it's also you can't just leave the unfortunately, stuff gets stolen in this particular apartment building a lot. I've not had it happen to me, but so whenever I have anything, whenever I order a package or whenever I'm ordering food and stuff, I do go down to get it because well once I figure out my buzzer, that's probably going to be easier. But it's also like don't ever leave like I've always made a little note when I'm able to make a note like don't leave packages here, it will get stolen. Not that I don't live in a bad area, it's just this particular apartment building.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's because I'm across from a subway station. I think that's
easy access, I guess.
I think no matter even if you're in a good area, you're across from a subway station, you're more likely to have your stuff lifted.
Yeah, that makes sense. I never considered that.
Yeah, that's my little theory.
Yeah, that's a good theory. I'm behind it. Let's continue, shall we?
Sure, but if I have to suddenly run away.
Yeah, just let me know before you do that. Just be like, okay, this is it, instead of just leaving. And that is the most I ask.
Great, you got it.
All right. Say when.
When.
Okay. Number 10. Okay, so this is one that like we actually kind of just went into. Do you feel like you are forced to settle on female presentation?
No, because honestly, the presentation that I feel most comfortable with is androgynous presentation. Like, not that non-binary means androgyny; it absolutely does not. I just happen to really, really love androgyny, and I feel very comfortable with myself in androgyny. And so I'll often, like, even when I'm femme presenting, like, unless I'm going like hard femme, I'm usually like, my gender expression usually ranges from femdrogyny to maskdrogyny, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But my favorite way to present is that like middle-ish point of androgyny. And honestly, like I live alone, so most of the time, like, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and that's not necessarily gendered clothing. Or I live alone, and if the temperature's nice enough, I'm not wearing any clothing, and my body is a non-binary body. So, but But there are also times when it's just like, I need to wear an article of clothing, but I don't want to wear pants, so I'm going to wear a dress. And it's not, I think a lot of the time my gender expression is motivated by comfort and not by gender.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now I'm going to rephrase this question from the perspective of, as a performer,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like you are forced to fit yourself into the female box?
Absolutely. And my reason for that being my answer is there are not a lot of non-binary roles for both film and television and for theater. So if I want to get work, I have to do the female roles, which is fine because it's funny. I don't really get dysphoric from playing female characters. The only times that I really get dysphoric within that is if I'm in a show or on set and I'm being misgendered. Like that's when I'm feeling dysphoric about it. It's not about being a female character. It's about not having my gender respected. It's when me, the actor, is not having my gender respected.
Yeah.
That is when I feel dysphoric about it. But like, I kind of have no choice but to go for female roles especially because I'm not going to be going on testosterone. So my voice is going to be staying here. And other than the fact that I'm working out like wild lately, my body's not going to look masculine. Because even if I'm wearing like a compressor sports bra or a binder, like I don't look like a man. I look more like a boy, but like I'm not going to audition for like boy roles because I don't look boyish enough for film. For theater, I have gone for boy roles. I have played I've played boys in theater, and that's not been a problem. Because it's easier to hide and mask things on theater.
Yeah.
I think theater is a lot more gender fluid than film. Not that both of them don't have their own problems with that, but like, yeah, I definitely feel pressured to exist more femme, especially in film. Not too much in theater, because there's quite a lot of folks in the Toronto theater scene who are quite gender aware. This is the order, the package.
Okay.
Hello?
All right, so I'm going to tell a story.
I'll be there in a second.
So, once upon a time, I met Callaghan on the internet, and we went on a date. That's right. It's that kind of relationship. It's that kind of story. Anyway, so our very first date, we went to the Square One Mall, and we walked around the mall, and we may have been loudly talking about musicals and sex, as well as maybe being those annoying people who were singing along to the musicals in our heads while we got sushi burritos. We then walked around Indigo after getting some Starbucks, and we found, I actually have it, but not the same one, but it's like the special Super Hamilton book. And so we were walking around Indigo and singing Hamilton and playing Hamilton, and again talking loudly about sex. And yeah, that was our first date, and we've been friends. I think it's been 3 years, maybe 2. I have no idea. Time is fake. Time is as fake as the construct of gender. And gender's valid if you want it to be. I have so many complicated feelings about gender. I have so many different answers to so many of these questions. Is that what I should be doing with this new free time that I have? Oh, I guess that makes more sense than talking about sex. Oh well. I'm in charge. The intersex question, though, oh my goodness, I've been thinking about it all day because as we were saying, it is such a wide topic, and I could see why a non-binary person would mentally want to consider themselves intersex. And even with like when like as Callaghan was saying, there are people who find out like later in life, and some of that can even be like a hormonal issue. Or so it's like for me, my body produces equal amounts of male and female hormones. That is actually like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is not fun. And I wish I would have predicted that this was going to happen, and then I could have talked about Halloween here. Anyway, the dictionary defines love. I have no idea why that popped into my head. But yeah, I remember it was actually Callaghan and Wes, our comment provider. I was doing a body paint on Callaghan, and I was talking about the hormones, and I was and I mentioned it, and Callaghan asked if that made me intersex, and I said, I don't know, I don't think so. And they said like, oh, congratulations, like I guess like in case like I'm finding like this new thing about myself. And Wes is just like in the other room, like, I don't think that means what you think it means. I have no idea how long this is going to go on for. Why aren't I better at communicating? Oh, I can tell jokes. I have jokes. Do you want to hear jokes? I have jokes. I'm a comedian. I'm going to pull up. You're trying to use my feminine wiles, but joke's on you. I don't have any. I haven't been writing as many jokes lately. I used to be able to just like open my phone and just find a huge selection of just anything in the world that I would like, and of just any joke. And now, yeah, wow, I've been sad. And how's the pandemic going for everyone else? I have been really feeling it. I've been. Are you coming back? You're back. Good. I was like about to jump into like a stand-up routine. I was like, all right, what are some jokes I can tell? All right, awesome, cool. I rambled, I talked, but we didn't lose any viewers, so I must have not sucked.
Woo!
But do I swallow? All right. We were done that question, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, I'm going back in. Ooh, I may put my jacket back on. It's probably because I'm sticking my hand in this cold bucket of water. Anyway, la la la.
When?
9. And I know it's 9 and not 6 because I wrote them differently because I'm good at planning.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I always read number 6 though. So you've been a professional actor for several years, professional performer. How, after coming out, was your experience being casted impacted?
Getting cast, grammar.
Sorry.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the right grammar is. I'm questioning everything. It didn't start. I don't think that it's really affected my casting. Is really the only thing that it's affected is it means that my agent submits me for non-binary roles as well as female roles. I don't think I've not gotten something because of me being non-binary, because usually I wait to disclose that I'm non-binary unless that's something more relevant to the project that I'm submitting for.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually, because I guess I worry about it impacting it, so I haven't usually disclosed when I've auditioned for something. So like, unless somebody on the audition panel already knows. And this is more of a theater context, because with film, it's just you get submitted for the thing, you go audition. Like it feels much more clinical for film and television. But like with theater, it's more so the way I present myself, I think sometimes has worked against me. Like I've had a more alternative appearance since 2014-ish. I started having a more alternative appearance, and it just got more alternative as I went along. So yeah, having a less traditional appearance, I think affected me being cast more than me vocalizing that I'm non-binary. I've definitely not been cast in something because I look too alternative. To my knowledge, I've not been cast in something because of being non-binary.
Okay, that's honestly good.
That's also why I feel like when I go to an audition, or most things are self-tapes now, when I do an audition, and it's I'm going for like a more femme role, I will present myself more femme, because I don't want my appearance to work against me for getting work.
Yeah. Like even before I was non-binary, I would do stuff like that. Like if I knew that like a fact about a character, like I would like change their eyebrows or makeup, and like I would do like a very sweet look. Like I wouldn't go as far as like showing up in costume to an audition or something, but I would dress the personality.
For sure. And honestly, that's kind of what most casting directors will advise you to do anyway. So but I know that I hate putting on makeup for auditions. I hate it so much. I hate it. I will always hate it. But there are there's a lot of auditions that I won't put on makeup for, because it's like, okay, this is if somebody on the panel already knows me, like I'm absolutely not wearing makeup. If it's one of those things where like, oh, okay, like I can sing the role and I can act the role, it's theater, so like I'm gonna be wigged anyway, so I don't really have to do anything more to my appearance.
Yeah.
But if I'm auditioning for a crowd that's not used to my work, unfortunately, depending on the role, makeup is happening. If it's a non-binary role, I'm absolutely not wearing makeup. Yeah, for film stuff. Usually when my agent's really good. I love her. When she submits, like a lot of the stuff I've been getting lately has been for more non-binary or gender non-conforming stuff. So like that, so the not wearing makeup has kind of worked, or has made sense, I should say. But yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep. I don't mind wearing makeup for a performance, because like, again, when I'm in a character, like it's all a costume. Even like back in the days of interviewing in person, I hated wearing makeup. The expectation to wear makeup for an interview. Like, yeah. And then it's like, my appearance shouldn't matter. It's like appearance. Okay, I understand appearance mattering with regards to, are you clean?
Yeah.
I get that. That's fair. Are you presenting yourself professionally? Okay, fine. Professionalism is an ableist thing that is for a different conversation, but like whatever. But it shouldn't matter if I'm not wearing makeup. It shouldn't matter, and it still matters. And
yeah, because if you're seen as female and you aren't wearing makeup, then you're automatically viewed as someone who's lazy, who's unkept, who doesn't care.
My skincare routine is incredibly vigorous. Me not wearing makeup regularly does not mean I'm clean. I have cleaner skin than most people.
Yeah, and I'm gross, and I wear makeup every day. And I'm a professional makeup artist. I should not say that, but it's like, honestly, like this morning I was wearing yesterday's makeup. Like it was just a thing. Yeah, it just, oh gosh, I could rant about makeup for a good long time, but I won't.
Things like I like, it's not even, I don't dislike makeup. I like makeup. It's just, I like makeup when I'm choosing to wear it. I like, because I do enjoy makeup. And it took me a long time to get to the point of enjoying makeup. Like it's been a journey with that. I just don't like being told to wear makeup when it doesn't, like, yeah, I don't like being told to wear makeup when it's a context where it just makeup's not adding anything.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like, hey, so can you do your makeup more like this for this? If I'm in a show or for film, someone does your makeup for you. But if it's like a theater thing, like, cause I've had this happen where sometimes, so not including right now, but sometimes I'll make my eyebrows just a little bit too blocky. So I've been in a show where the costumes and wardrobe person was just like, can you fix your eyebrow makeup? And I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. So that doesn't bother me. But like the CEO person of the company's coming in, wear mascara, like,
No, that's unacceptable. Like that should be your choice. Like if it's just like make sure, like there's a difference between general grooming and aesthetic. Like and it's just like it's one thing of just like, oh, this like it's one thing to encourage someone to look their best. Like make sure you're feeling good. There are just like, there's so many other positive things that you could say. There are different ways that you could spin your language instead of just focusing on someone's external appearance, because like the reason that you want, you know, your woman to be wearing mascara when the CEO is around is that you want to show off that you are like, you're creating a good work environment. So I don't know, maybe actually just do that.
Is mascara conducive to a good work environment?
Yes, it is.
I want to know.
Mascara means happy workers. Happy workers means good work environment. It's science. You can trust me.
Because you're a scientist?
I have a lab coat. Yeah. Are we ready for our next question? We have, I think, like 6 left.
Correct.
Yes. All right. Say when.
When.
Number 12. How do you handle being misgendered in the workplace?
Usually silently. It kind of depends on the work environment, because I've been in work environments where it's like, there is no point in me correcting this person because it's going to get turned around where I'm the one making a big deal about something. And there's been times in a workplace where I've felt comfortable enough to advocate for myself, and it still ends up being a struggle. And I've also been in work environments that I've also worked for employers that it's a company that claims to be gender inclusive, but then getting misgendered by the majority of the staff, and then like trying to talk to the managers and being like, oh, well, this person, we can't, like, we're not going to correct this person because da 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 da, and this person da da da. And like, this isn't acceptable.
No,
like it's not acceptable. And like, I understand that there are people where English is their second language, but that's not a reason to not correct them when they misgender somebody. And I understand if somebody is old, but that's not a reason to not correct them when they misgender somebody. And I understand that, like, I get really annoyed when people bring in mental illness or learning disabilities with it, because like all the trans people I know have a learning disability or are mentally ill. So like, why the fuck you are capable of learning. I don't believe that people aren't capable of learning. And like, and then some people are like, oh, but the employee, like, sorry, but the customers are going to misgender you all the time. And like, yeah, I'm prepared for that. I at least want the people I work with to gender me properly. And it's not hard. When I work on set, so film is way, way, way more transphobic than theater. Theater still has a transphobia problem. But film has a huge, huge anti-non-binary problem, I think. Not that, and theater is like only slightly more progressive. Like we want to, like us in theater want to believe that we're way, way, way more progressive, but we're only like marginally more progressive. Like
oh god, it's like Canada and the US. Is that what you're about to say?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so on film, like honestly, like when I'm on film, there are a handful of like good friends I have who I do background with, and other than that handful of friends, I don't usually disclose that I am non-binary because there's a lot of sexism and transphobia on set in the Ontario film scene. So I usually like it's one of those things where it's like I'm tired. This is not the hill I'm going to die on in this environment.
Yeah.
Especially because there are people who are so openly transphobic, and it's one of those things where like I get really frustrated where it's just like it's still a work environment. If saying these comments wouldn't be okay if you worked at Starbucks, then it's not okay to make those comments when you're sitting and holding and working background for film and television.
Yeah,
and the thing is like there's not a lot of support for that, for those kind of disputes. For like crew needs to fucking step up sometimes, because like I know people who work in film and television, and they like for the more crew side of it, and like there's more of that bigotry in crew, or I've seen more of that bigotry in crew than I thought would be permissible, and crew needs to tell other crew. It's like how, you know, when you're like people working in a construction site and a bunch of them start catcalling, one of the other construction people who know that that's shitty needs to comment, hey, that's shitty, don't do that. That's how I feel about crew in film and television a lot. Like y'all know that that's shitty. So because when you're doing, especially if you're in, it's a little different when you're like a day player or like principal talent. But if you're a background actor, like you're the lowest of the low. You can't do anything. And there are anonymous ways that you can report that stuff if it's and you can anonymously to report to the different unions of IATSE and ACTRA if it's an IATSE and ACTRA set. But like in the moment, there's not really a lot you can do to advocate for yourself with regards to really any kind of bigotry, especially like the more overt things like racism and sexism. They're not really good at sexism, but like if something racist happens on set, like people would say stuff. If something sexist or homophobic happened on set, it's going to be hit or miss. But if something transphobic or ableist happens on set, no one says anything. And if anybody does say something to advocate for that stuff, they get shut down.
Oh yeah,
it makes it feel like there's so much ableism in film and TV, and like as well as theater. But again, like film is worse with it. And there have been times when I've been on set, and so for the folks at home who don't know, I am hard of hearing. I have mild hearing loss in both ears. Left is slightly worse than right ear, and I have an audio processing disorder. So anyway, I've had an AD give me a lot of attitude because he thinks I'm ignoring something, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like I didn't catch that, like I don't actually know what's happening. There's so many sounds happening right now, I can't focus. So so the reason I'm asking you to repeat your instructions isn't because I wasn't listening, it's because I couldn't hear. And they get annoyed, but like, I'm sorry, I'm not like this to inconvenience you. And I've got friends who are like physically disabled and who have been told like you can't have your cane on set. And it's like, yo, that's
why?
Like it's one of those things where like can't they bring their cane on set, and then they can use their cane when we're not shooting because they are chronically ill and physically disabled. Like, but the thing is, like, we have laws to protect this stuff, but like crew would say something if it was racist, but they wouldn't do it if it was ableist or transphobic.
And like, even if you go back like however many years, like it's been just such a slow burn and progression of people saying stuff even when things are racist. and it's just like things are like things are getting better in regard to homophobia, and like hopefully they're gonna start getting better for transphobia. But no, just everyone, cis people, white people, every person with fucking privilege out there, step your game up. And even if you don't have those racist beliefs, you're contributing to those problematic beliefs by not fucking doing something about it, because it is up to you as a bystander to get involved and make issue with what is happening. Because if you're just letting it go, then you are an enabler. And just, yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, just with I feel I've had an easier time existing non-binary with a certain theater things. Like there was this show that I was in 2018, beginning of 2018, and the director knew I was non-binary, the stage manager knew I was non-binary, and one of the actors who I was friends with before auditioning for the show knew I was non-binary. So like having people within the cast and crew using my correct pronoun made a huge difference. And it gets really tiring advocating for yourself. Like it takes one other person to correct for misgendering to like take off some pressure. Cause like a lot of the times, like I've had people be like, oh, I like how like you don't get mad when people misgender you. You don't even say anything. And it's like, because if I do, no matter how politely I do it, it'll get thrown back at me at some point in time. And it's like, no, it does bug me when I get misgendered. It's just, I'm not allowed to be upset, because then I'm the angry non-binary person, because then I'm the angry social justice warrior, feminist, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, I don't have the energy to fight every battle.
Yeah. And that's why we have the need for allies, and we're hiring. There's no abundance. Like join us. We have cookies. They can be gluten-free if you would like. I make vegan cookies. I can make regular cookies too. What? Oh gosh. Okay. All right, 5 questions left. Let's do this.
Ooh. All right. When?
Number 8. Oh, you actually touched on this a bit as well. Plans to medically transition and how you think it would affect your career.
One of the reasons why I don't want to go on testosterone is because I've worked very, very hard on my singing voice, and I know that there are like trans men and trans masc and non-binary AFAB folk who sing and who still continue to sing through what T changes and after they've gotten the changes from T. But with my build, there would not be any, with my build and how I look, there aren't really roles that I would fit. And I like my singing voice. I don't really like my speaking voice, but I like my singing voice, and I don't want to risk that. I don't want to compromise that. Especially like I can get roles with how my voice is and how my appearance is, or how I can make my appearance match. But, and especially because like you don't know how T is going to affect you until you're in the throes of it. And yeah, I'd rather do like speech therapy to figure out how to speak in the lower register of my voice. Because really the only thing I would want from T is the voice change. And I don't even want to change my voice that much. It's just like, let's go down like 3 tones for my speech. That's really all I would want. Because I don't want a huge drop, because like I know people who've been on T for years and their voice changed like a tiny little bit, and then I know people who were on T for like 3 months and their voice just dropped so low, and it's that huge drop that would, because once you can't make your voice go back up once it goes low. And I know that I don't want top surgery. And again, like I said, like I'm a very small chested person, so if I Like that's not something I feel would impact me being cast or not.
Yeah.
The only medical thing that I want done is I want my uterus removed.
Yeah. That's fair.
And I really don't think that would affect me getting cast in things. But yeah, like, but that being said, like, me shaving my head felt like a part of my transition.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
me presenting androgynously and me or when I present masculine, that to me is a part of my transition. Like I feel like, I mean, I know that I think social transition is just as important. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that so much.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of time, though, I'm going to cut some of our questions so we won't make it to all 13.
Sure.
So, I'm still going to get you to say when, though.
All right. When?
Okay. Non-binary? Pah! Why can't you just choose a side?
That's racist because that notion of gender is rooted in white supremacist Christian colonial ideals, which aren't even that old. That's why I'm not choosing a side, because it's racist.
I accept your answer.
Also, like, why would you want to choose between chocolate and vanilla? Why can't you have the swirl? Or why don't you pick a different option altogether? Strawberry. I'm
allergic to strawberries, so I'm offended by that. It's a recent allergy over the last few years. Just like every now and then I'll eat something and I'll just be like, huh. Like it was at a point where I was like, am I allergic to a pesticide? Because this is too many fruits. I wasn't.
Oh no.
But yeah, so that will be our final question. So I'm going to say, do you have any final closing statements on your experience of gender representation, presentation, and who you are as a person?
I feel like within the entertainment industry, I would just like more trans writers, more non-binary writers to be selected, and more trans and more non-binary characters written in things, both for film and television, because like that representation is needed, and there are plenty of non-binary and trans actors ready and willing to work, and they should be cast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And creators, even if you're cis, you can make a trans character. Just don't tell their transition story. They can exist. Just like as a cis male, you can write a female character. Ask some fucking questions first, though. That is my big thing. Do your research and don't be a dick. This has been serious and scary with Jess L. Callaghan. Happy Halloween, everyone. Happy Halloween, and happy everything in between.
Happy birthday.
Happy